All right, everybody. In the last two videos, we talked about organizing the fertilizers so they continue to be at the back of the shed. In the next video, we talked about organizing the insecticides, fungicides, miticides. And I wasn't sure about this table. It was a four-tier table. Thought about getting a cabinet. Thought about doing a whole bunch of things, but I got my wife involved, and she's really the brains behind the operation, especially when it comes to organization. So I had done that part. And originally we were going to hold these two backpack sprayers up with these J hooks. They're really, really nice. You can get them at any of the big box stores. You can use them in this case to hang something in the horizontal, like a shovel. And I was going to use these right here to hang the backpack sprayers. That's why I bought them. But you know, with any home project you do, things don't seem to work out exactly the way you want. These just barely fit on the stud. Notice the holes were toward the edge of them. So we were a little worried that they would split the wood. And the design was to hold the backpacks up. The backpack sprayers, they would go under here and hold them really nicely. That would work. We were concerned again about the screws being too close to the studs themselves. And then we got to thinking, when you hung one of these, you didn't want to be too much higher up for the second one, and it didn't seem to make as much sense as this. She came up with this idea: how about we move the shelving unit over and put the backpack sprayers on top. It's butted up against the edge of the shed, so it's plenty sturdy. So very, very happy with that. Sprayers on top, got the fungicides, insecticides on the bottom, or the middle, and the very bottom is stuff that is not for the roast garden. Weed Be Gone, Roundup, gasoline, stuff like that. And then with those J hooks, we used that to hang the shovel, but actually it was originally for the spraying mask. So any of my spraying stuff, you can see the safety goggles down there, and then the rubber gloves, and then the respirator. So that turned out really well. With that space opened up, we moved some of the other stuff around in the shed. So any of the hats I wear out in the garden, really like some of these tools. This is something you sit on when you weed, and then some of the things I use to weed, the hoe, and things of that nature. Little small shovels can hang up with just regular nails. So I think it turned out really well. Once we got this corner organized, then I could try to move some stuff over, like the weed whacker and the leaf blower. So very, very happy how this space turned out. These chairs here, we're trying to keep them inside as much as possible because we get a tremendous amount of sun, so that won't break down as quickly. All the stuff here, the drill and the level, we may do a couple more hooks to organize. The back corner organized a little bit more. That is all rose show material. So that's in the corner, and you can just barely see it, but out of that box is all the stuff I use for rose shows for me. Covering the blooms, and some juice cartons that hold them in tubs when I transport them to rose shows. So this is all rose show stuff, most for shows in the society I belong to, but that stuff at the top is for covering blooms and transporting blooms. Up top, we've always had a little kiddie pool. Our kids are big enough now, I probably should pass that on. That's a very useful tool, just a big bag, collapsible bag that I take around for weeding. And then over here, some stuff that has been organized. This is a pile to donate of kids' stuff. I've got an empty trash can. Our trash providers change cans, and we could keep the old one, and I like it for weeding and things of that nature. Of course, I use those buckets, the empty buckets, for all my liquids, fish emulsion, Miracle-Gro, kelp, things like that with my rotary spreader. And then over here, the wheelbarrow. I've gotten into the habit of kind of drying out these gloves after I use them and then rotating them with one of three pairs that I have. I go through gloves pretty quick. And they can get wet depending on me sweating or just working with the dew of the morning. So this will probably be it for videos. You can see we did the organizations of the fertilizer. We've moved on to the fungicides and the chemicals, and then just an overall cleaning and organizing the shed, hanging up some of the shovels, putting some of the power tools together, Originally in this corner, we had them together with the weeding basket, putting stuff on hangers and nails and hooks where applicable. I may do another video down the road if I utilize it. I still think a loft up here would be good, or just something hanging from the ceiling that can support storage in the vertical. But for now, I should have done it before, because this shed was a disaster. Pretty much when you walked in, there was stuff on the floor. And I always tease my wife, we have a half-acre lot, and I still have a push mower, that we now do have a spot for riding a lawnmower. I think I'm one of the few that cuts grass here in our neighborhood with a push mower still. When I mean push, it's still an electric or gas-powered mower, and it's still, it's a powered mower, but the only thing that engages is the blade. It doesn't have powered wheels, so I push it myself over the half acre. So it takes a good hour to cut our grass since it's about a half acre. Hope everyone's doing well, and hope you appreciate the organization. It's not normally like this, but I got tips from others on YouTube, so that's why I'm sharing it. Hooks like that to put your shovels like that, using the wall cavities of between the studs to hang or to hold stuff, and just a general organization. I'll say one last thing. I'll end on one mistake I did make. I still need more of these containers. It was actually 3 of the OxiClean containers to hold the Kaptan, 5 pounds, and I still have a little left over. It's very powdery, and I should have done 2 things. Number one, I should have transferred it outside of the shed, because I spilled some on the floor, and it took a while to sweep out. And the other kind of stupid thing I did, whenever I'm spraying, from the time before I mix the chemicals to when I spray to when I clean the sprayer out, I have a double respirator on and glasses and gloves. When I was transferring this dry Kaptan to the containers, I only had gloves on. So I smelled it in my nose later that evening, and I said that was a pretty stupid mistake. They say, especially when you're spraying, one of the worst times to get chemicals on you, in you, that type of thing, is when it's highly concentrated. And it's no more highly concentrated than when it's coming directly out of the bottle or container. So remember that. That was a lesson learned. I've been doing this for 7-8 years now, and I always wear PPE. But when you're transferring chemicals, remember to do it then. Even though you're not putting water on it or using it, it's in a highly concentrated form. So wear all the stuff that you do as if you were spraying. Hope everyone's doing well, and comment below, how do you organize your shed? Are you lucky enough to have a shed or garage? How do you utilize it? Do you use hooks, nails, organizational tools from the big box stores? Have you come up with some other homemade methods? Do you just use nails? I have a lot of nails in here from the prior owner, and I just use those where applicable. And how do you organize your sprayers, your chemicals, and your fungicides and things like that? As always, I appreciate the subscribers. Have a great day.